Almost 140 years ago, a man named Moses Shapira arrived at the British Museum clutching a collection of ancient documents. Initially hailed as priceless relics, these texts caused a sensation before being dismissed as clever forgeries and eventually disappearing from the spotlight. Now, a modern expert has revisited the Shapira Scrolls and made a startling revelation about these enigmatic texts. Shapira claimed that these scrolls had been found by a group of Bedouins hidden in a desert cavern near the Dead Sea, boasting that they were the oldest known biblical texts in the world. This incredible story left many wondering if Shapira had genuinely stumbled upon artifacts of immense importance, or if he was merely a conman exploiting his knowledge of antiquities for personal gain. Tragically, just months after his arrival in London, Shapira passed away, and his scrolls, once subjects of great excitement, were labeled as fakes. However, the story did not end there. Over time, these mysterious documents inspired modern scholars to reassess their authenticity, with surprising results. According to Shapira, he came into possession of the scrolls in July 1878 while running a souvenir and antiquities business in Jerusalem's Old City. He had gained a reputation as a dealer in historic artifacts, although some of his acquisitions were later revealed to be forgeries. Even today, the British Museum displays texts that were originally acquired by Shapira. The biblical scrolls allegedly recovered from a cave near Jordan's Wadi Mujib Gorge contained text from the Book of Deuteronomy, a part of the Bible's Old Testament. However, this version appeared to differ from the one in general use during the late 19th century, which had significant religious implications. Many believe that this section of the Old Testament contained the literal word of God given to Moses. Shapira's scrolls, if genuine, suggested that the Book of Deuteronomy had undergone alterations over the years, a highly significant finding. Shapira sought more than $1 million for these scrolls, a colossal sum at the time. The British Museum expressed interest, provided the documents could be authenticated. However, a shadow of doubt was cast by scholar Charles Claremont Gano, who had previously accused Shapira of fraud. Gano dubbed the scrolls forgeries, and his skepticism was shared by later biblical scholar Christian Ginsburg. Shapira left London in disgrace and died in Amsterdam the following March. The fate of his controversial scrolls remains a mystery. They were reportedly auctioned off as curios and passed through various hands, ultimately disappearing from historical records. Their story would likely have been forgotten if not for the discovery of the Dead Sea Scrolls in 1947, which bore striking similarities to the scrolls Shapira had brought to London. 60 years prior, doubts emerged regarding the authenticity of Mike Shapira's manuscripts. In a 2017 BBC article, academic interest in the scrolls began to rise in the 1950s as scholars aimed to apply research methods unavailable during Ginsburg's initial investigation. However, the scrolls had vanished, leaving questions unanswered. Determined to locate them, Tigay embarked on a journey from Wadi Mujib in Jordan to London, and then back to San Francisco, his home city. Ironically, in San Francisco, Tigay found a breakthrough in the case. San Francisco State University held a collection of documents originally sourced by Shapira, while the missing scrolls were not among them. Tigay discovered a series of texts with removed margins. This aligns with Ginsburg's suggestion that Shapira might have used a similar method to forge the biblical relics. The authenticity of Shapira's scrolls has long been debated. Recent work by Aydin Dershowitz, an Israeli-American scholar based in Germany, has further complicated the matter. In March 2021, Dershowitz published a paper titled "The Valediction of Moses: New Evidence on the Shapira Deuteronomy Fragments," suggesting that the scrolls may have been genuine. Dershowitz became drawn to the scrolls' story and was perplexed by the lack of attention paid to their actual content. He meticulously researched the documents, relying on transcripts made by Ginsburg and another scholar in the 19th century. These transcripts, combined with Shapira's original notes, led Dershowitz to believe that Shapira did not forge the manuscripts. Shapira's meticulous study notes and questions in the margins indicated his genuine puzzlement. suggesting he did not create them. The scrolls were initially dismissed partly due to Shapira's claim that Bedouins had found them in a cave, an unlikely story at the time. However, the subsequent discovery of the Dead Sea Scrolls, retrieved by Bedouins, demonstrated that such discoveries were not implausible. This raised questions about the authenticity of the scrolls studied by Dr. Dershowitz. In the end, the answer may lie within the actual words of the scrolls themselves, as scholars continue to debate their authenticity and significance. Despite the missing manuscript sharing similarities with the fifth book of the Old Testament, Dr. Dershowitz contends that there are key differences. He points out that the text, which he calls the Valediction of Moses, is considerably shorter and lacks the law code and poems found at the end of Deuteronomy. Importantly, the version of Deuteronomy in Shapira's scrolls omits a specific tale present in the modern Bible, which some modern research suggests may have been a later addition. This supports the theory that the manuscripts could indeed originate from an early edition of the Old Testament, possibly dating back 2,700 years. However, Dr. Dershowitz clarifies that he refers to the text's age and not necessarily the artifact itself, which might have been recorded on a more recent manuscript around the time of the Dead Sea Scrolls. Dr. Dershowitz's findings have stirred controversy, opposing the conclusions of Tegay, who suspected that the documents were part of an imaginative scam. Tegay had proposed that if Shapira had fabricated the manuscript, he did so with such skill that he unwittingly foretold the existence of the Dead Sea Scrolls, casting Shapira as a master forger and, paradoxically, a genius. The debate surrounding the scrolls remains heated, with some viewing them as evidence of masterful forgery, while others consider them a potentially groundbreaking biblical discovery akin to the Dead Sea Scrolls. Dr. Dershowitz's research has added complexity to this long-standing mystery. In a separate archaeological discovery from 2017, a team from Liberty University in Virginia and the Hebrew University in Jerusalem explored caves near the Dead Sea, specifically the Cave of the Scrolls near Qumran. Inside, they found discarded arrowheads and Neolithic tools, as well as an unbroken jar containing a blank scroll. Further exploration revealed a hidden tunnel, leading to the discovery of 3 broken storage jars that once likely contained documents known as the Dead Sea Scrolls. Subscribe and press the bell icon for regular updates.